I'm Samantha, 28, as I stood in front of my lake house. I watched my so-called family's cars disappear in a cloud of dust. The mix of shock and anger on their faces was almost funny. But to me, it was the sweetest kind of victory. It had taken years to get here. When I was 18, my mom, the kindest, gentlest woman you could ever meet, passed away suddenly. My dad, Richard, was a total workaholic, and after she died, he completely lost himself. About a year later, he met Vivian, sharp, ambitious, and calculating. She wasn't cruel outright, but she knew how to twist things subtly to her advantage. Vivian had two daughters, Lily and Rose, both in their early 30s, both full of confidence and self-importance. From the day they moved in, I felt like I didn't belong. I tried my best to be nice and helpful, hoping to earn a little warmth. But no matter what I did, there was always this invisible wall between us. Vivian loved to make little digs like, "Samantha, you're so quiet. You should try to be more like Lily and Rose." My dad, hopelessly smitten with her, pretended not to notice. So when I finally left for college out of state, I felt an enormous wave of relief. For the first time in years, I could breathe without walking on eggshells. During my college years, I often visited my great-aunt Clara. She lived in a cozy lake house, the same one that would later change everything. The place was filled with warm memories from my childhood: the smell of pine, the creak of the old porch swing, the soft hum of the lake at sunset. We'd sit outside sipping tea and talk about life, love, and everything in between. Aunt Clara truly understood me in a way no one else did. When she passed away at 90, she left me that beautiful house and a generous inheritance. I was touched and grateful, but also overwhelmed. One evening, over dinner, I mentioned to my dad and Vivian that I was thinking about selling it. Vivian immediately said, "Don't be rash. It's a great investment. We could use it for family gatherings." My dad agreed right away. Trusting them, I gave them a spare key, thinking it was a kind gesture. Big mistake. Soon, they started visiting without asking, throwing parties, inviting friends, and acting like it was theirs. I found out when I drove up one summer for a quiet weekend and walked into a full-blown party. Music blaring, strangers everywhere, and Lily had the nerve to glare at me and say, "What are you doing here? You're ruining the vibe." I was furious. "This is my house," I told her. "I decide who's welcome here." After that, things only got worse. My dad stopped calling as often, and when he did, the silence between us said everything. 3 weeks ago, my dad called out of the blue and invited me to dinner. He said they wanted to plan a family vacation at the lake house. I hesitated but allowed myself to hope. Maybe things would finally turn around. For the next couple of weeks, I threw myself into preparations, scrubbing the place spotless, restocking the pantry, even buying new furniture for the terrace. I wanted it to be perfect, maybe even a fresh start. But just 3 days before the trip, Dad called again. His voice was uneasy. "Vivian thinks it's best if you don't come," he said. "It's a family-only vacation, and it might be awkward." My heart dropped. All that effort, all that hope wasted. I was angry and humiliated, but I wasn't about to just take it. I called my best friend, Maya, who's always game for chaos, and told her everything. "Pack your bags," she said instantly. I also invited a few close friends. The day before my family was supposed to arrive, I had all the locks changed. When Vivian and the others showed up, the look on her face when her key didn't fit was priceless. She exploded, calling me selfish, immature, dramatic. I just smiled and said, "You're right. I'm not part of the family, remember? So you don't need to be here." They stormed off, red-faced and fuming. My friends and I had the best vacation ever. We swam, fished, roasted marshmallows, and laughed until our sides hurt. For the first time in years, I felt completely free, truly myself again. When I got back to the city, there was a letter from Vivian waiting in my mailbox, full of guilt trips and demands for an apology. I couldn't help but laugh. I wrote her a short email saying I was done with their drama and wished them the best, then blocked every number I had for them. A month later, I spotted my dad waiting outside my office. He looked older, smaller somehow, like all the fight had gone out of him. We went to a nearby cafe, and he apologized. He said the trip had been a disaster, and that he finally saw how badly he treated me. He told me he'd ended things with Vivian and her daughters. I was still hurt, but I could see the sincerity in his eyes. I told him I needed time to heal, and I meant it. That evening, I called my friend Jenna, a realtor, and asked her to help me find a small house in the city and rent out the lake house. It felt like closing one chapter and opening another, one where I finally put myself first.